What's going on, everyone? So, Hoop Central put together a little kind of image and diagram of all the teams and kind of the percentages in which that they will make the playoffs. And they have the San Antonio Spurs at 100%. I think there's really only like maybe 2 or 3 teams in each conference that like you should do 100% on, right? Because, again, injuries and stuff. Like if you want to do like 99%, it's kind of like an outlier fluke, then sure. But I'm surprised that they have the Spurs at 100%. Now, look, talked about how Bleacher Report has the Spurs basically as the 9th seed. They had them projected as 9th, and it's fun and interesting to kind of see where everyone's perspectives and minds are at as far as like, where they think that they're going to rank. And I'm not saying that they should have had the Spurs at 15%, but you see some of these percentages, like if they would have had them at like 70% or like 75% or something, I would have been like, sure. Absolutely, right? But, 100%, right? Like, I think that's a little extreme. I mean, obviously health and all that other stuff, but I'm saying take out of that. Let's say, you turn off, health, and that way you make sure that nobody gets hurt and injured. Where do they rank, like, realistically? I don't doubt that they could be a top 6 seed, like, at all. I've talked for weeks about how I could see them easily fall in face first into the actual playoffs. I think they're in that 7 to 8 range, if I'm being honest and fair. Now, my opinion could change once we actually see them play. There's a lot of questions, though, about this team, right? Like, what does Wemby look like in year 3, right? Does he start making strides into that? Where do you have Wemby ranked? Top 10, top 15? Can he move clearly into that top 7 to top 5 guy in the league? Right? Now that could raise the ceiling enough. What does Stephon Castle look like in year 2? What does De'Aaron Fox look like on the Spurs? Right? We got him on kind of a small sample size at the end where it was a little awkward and weird lineups, and it was kind of like, are they tanking? Are they can't? Right? Wemby goes down. Okay, what does he look like now? Right? Is he going to be able to contribute to winning? Right? I mean, again, he had stretches in Sacramento where it looked like, hey, this team should be a lock for the playoffs, and we're missing it. So again, like, there's a lot of questions. Dylan Harper, so on and so forth. Right? So I don't think it's something where I can like look at them and just go like, that's clearly a playoff team. I think there is the potential. I think you look at the players and kind of like the depth and the youth and the versatility, and I see this version, this picture where they are a team that can absolutely make the playoffs. I don't think they're a contender or anything like that. I think it's very unlikely that they will be, period. But an actual playoff team, a top 6 team in the league, sure. I don't rule that out. I just think it's like a safer bet would be that they are going to be a 7th or 8th seed. I think that they are in that range, into that mix where, they are a team that, and you got to keep in mind too, with how tight and stacked the Western Conference is, like the difference between being even like the 4th seed compared to like the 7th or 8th seed is like a game. Right. So that's why I don't think it's crazy to think that they would be a playoff team. I think that they very well could be. It's just, again, I just, some of these teams ahead of them are still going to end up being ahead of them. And then some of these teams, just have the veteran experience. But every year there are a team or two that everyone thinks is going to be good. That's not. And every year there's a team or two that people think are going to be okay that end up being good. Right? I think the Spurs absolutely could be one of those teams where everyone thinks that they're going to be okay and actually end up being good, right? Like, and there's going to be teams at that, but like right off the top, right? You have the Thunder, the Rockets, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, right? We're the top kind of 7 teams, right? Thunder, Rockets, probably Lakers, Nuggets, and Clippers. I think for sure. I would also add the Timberwolves. Warriors, I'm a little indifferent on. Right? So I think Warriors, Grizzlies, right, are teams that you can make an argument for that they could end up over. But that's not counting the Dallas Mavericks, who were the 10th seed last year, who should be in that top, like that playoff team, right? But Kyrie, we'll see how long, like, what do they look like without him for a good majority of the season? So I'm willing to kind of put Dallas to the side for a moment and just kind of look at the team, like what were the playoff teams last year, right? And it was the Thunder, the Rockets, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, right? Those were the top 6. I think those 6 teams are still going to be in the mix for that. Now, again, maybe the Timberwolves or the Lakers or, the Clippers or something like that, especially with Bradley Beal, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard, not really models of health, right? Like, could one of those teams end up slipping? Sure. And then, you have the Spurs in the mix with these other teams and they kind of take one of these teams over the top. Absolutely. I do think that that's a possibility. I just think, again, if we're going to be honest and we're going to be safe about it, I think that that's the right approach. But also, I mean, to be honest, like this chart is all over the place, right? So they have teams like Portland is 1% to make the playoffs. Like Portland was like only like a game or two. Like they were in prime position to be a play-in team last year. Like any team that has the potential to be a play-in team, I don't think should be in that like 1%. Right? Like again, Portland becomes a play-in team. Could they win 2 straight games? Like could a team just get hot and win 2 straight games and now they're the 8th seed? Sure. I just some of these things are a little all over the place. Like Atlanta, who I think had one of the best off seasons out of anybody, is only like 50% to make the playoffs. Like I think that's a little odd. No, there's a couple random teams and whatnot that you're just like like they have like Sacramento, New Orleans at 25%. It's like okay, that's fair. Again, Clippers, like because this came out after the Bradley Beal thing. They have the Clippers at 99%, but they have like every other contender team at 100%. So it's like, why didn't you just go to 100%? Point is, it's a little kind of wonky. Like they have Milwaukee at 50% in the Eastern Conference. I mean, as long as you have Giannis, you're probably at least making the playoffs. It's just kind of my thoughts. But, you just, again, kind of go down the list here. It's a little crazy. 100% that the Spurs are going to make the playoffs, I think, from a non-biased perspective, like if you remove the fandom for a moment, like take a step back and look at the situation, like would you comfortably bet 100%? Are you laying the farm 100% the San Antonio Spurs are a playoff team? I don't know if I'd do that. If you told me play-in team, sure, right? Are they one of the 10 best teams in the Western Conference? Absolutely. Like I'm incredibly yeah, sign me up for that. Right, like that I'll take those, right? But a top 6 team, I mean, I guess technically top 8 team, right? I think they're close. I think they're there. Right? Like I said, I believe they're 7th or 8th. I think they're a top 7 to 8 seed in the Western Conference. So, but again, it's just, and I'm saying take away all of the little, like injuries and all those other things that could be a factor, which is why I would never say anybody is 100%. Knock on wood, Wemby ends up missing half the season. They're potentially go your thing, or, Fox misses half the season. Again, knock on wood, like there goes half your season. But removing that from the conversation, I don't look at the Spurs and go like they are a lock to be a playoff team. Again, they're young and inexperienced. Them getting into the play-in, right? Let's say they're the 8th seed in the play-in, right? I don't think that they would lose 2 straight games, but I wouldn't be shocked. Again, they're a young, inexperienced team. They're a young, inexperienced team that, hasn't been in that situation, in that environment. Could they, fumble a game that they, or 2 that they shouldn't have? Sure. Right? Like, I think that that's a real possibility. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.